Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I need a lot of space on my bookshelves. So I am gonna be unhauling as many books as I can. I guess I could buy another bookshelf, but I technically have the space for it, but I wanna see if I can unhaul some books first. So I'm gonna try to be brutal here. Let's see how many we can unhaul. My goal is 50. Hopefully we can unhaul even more than that. Before we get started, I have three that I know I'm already going to be unhauling. The first one is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This one I tried reading. I knew it was probably not going to be for me, but I still bought it because this was one of the books that were most popular on BookTube as far as romance was concerned. So, but like I said, I knew it was not going to be for me. Hyperbole and a Half, I tried reading and I DNF'd it and I don't need it on my shelves. Romantic comedy, I bought for the Goodreads Choice Awards video, reading the top 10 romances, but I didn't like it and I DNF'd it as well. Okay, so my goal is to try and get as many hardbacks off my shelves because I have a lot of hardbacks that I cannot actually fit on this shelf. So I get started. There's a bunch of hardbacks here on the floor. Let me actually show you. These ones that these I already own. They were on my shelves before. I just need to find space for them, but maybe I can unhaul a couple. I will be checking Goodreads, as well to see if I can, like if I'm debating and it doesn't have any high ratings, maybe I can also unhaul it then. First one I already see, it's gonna be Alienated. I'm gonna unhaul this, even though a part of me does really want to read it. But this is an alien romance, and I just figured right now in my life, if I'm gonna be reading an alien romance, it's gonna be an adult alien romance. This was published in 2014. So 10 years ago, and I still have not read it, so I think that should say enough. 4 of these I can unhaul. One of them I have read, and it's Roar by Cora Carmack. This I did enjoy when I read it, but this is apparently a series I never continued on, and I haven't really thought about this book since I read it, so therefore I'm gonna be unhauling it. Wither by Lauren DeStefano. This has survived many an unhaul, and I always thought maybe I was gonna read it, but if I'm gonna be realistic here, nothing in me ever compelled me to pick it up. It was published in 2011. Dreamology, once again, I never picked it up, and I don't really feel any need to pick it up, and I never really think about this book. So this was published in 2016. It's a young adult. I do have to say, I told you guys a bunch of times already, young adult romances are just not really my thing anymore. I will read them on occasion, but I just have a bunch that I know I'll never get to, and this is one of them. Although I don't think this is contemporary romance. This might be like paranormal a little bit. And then the last one is going to be Star Daughter. Even though this is gorgeous, this is a beautiful book. It was a fairy loot book. It is signed. The ratings are not that great, so the only reason I would hold on to it is because it is such a beautiful edition, and that is not a reason to keep it in my opinion. So 4 removed. So my shelves, most of them are double stacked, so let's stick to the first shelves first because those are mainly where the hardbacks are, and then afterwards I'm gonna go into the back. Let me actually show you once again. So this shelf houses a lot of hardbacks. Okay, let me actually just do one bookcase. So this is the first one, second one. See, some of them, like for example, the Selection series, I really have no interest in this, but I think it makes for good content. So I'm gonna keep it to see if I maybe want to do a video reading all of them. And then this one, this is not hardbacks, but it's still the first. So let me see which one of those I'm not interested anymore, or I've read and I don't want to keep it, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I have 7 that I'm gonna be pulling off these shelves. The first 2 are 2 contemporary romances, My Life Next Door and What I Thought Was True. These, once again, like young adult contemporary romances. They were published in 2012 and 2014. I'm not saying that I wouldn't enjoy them if I read them now. I'm just saying that I have only so many time in my days, and I just prefer adult contemporary romances now. So hopefully somebody else will enjoy them. Wink Poppy Midnight. This doesn't have the best ratings on Goodreads. This one I got at like a book exchange. This one I feel the least bad because I didn't spend any money on it. All the other ones I did spend some money on it. This Splintered Silence, this I believe is a sci-fi, young adult sci-fi. Once again, doesn't have the best reviews, and I forgot this book even was in my possession. Armada by Ernest Cline. Once again, this doesn't have the best reviews. I haven't even read Ready Player One yet, and out of the two, that one is the one I'm interested in most, whereas this one I don't really have any interest in. Vasa and the Night by Sarah Porter. This was actually my first ever fairy loot, so I guess that's why I held on to it. But once again, doesn't have the best reviews, and nothing in me has been compelled to pick it up. Yeah, so this one I've had since 2016, and I haven't even had the urge to pick it up. Ghost Head of Watchmen by Harper Lee. So I was very excited when this one came out, but ever since then the reviews have not been great, so getting rid of this one too. 15 so far, so far so good. This is the bottom shelf. These ones I'm not gonna be unhauling because these were all recently purchased, so let's see which ones of these I can unhaul. I grabbed 3 young adult contemporaries that I might have loved in another time, but for now, once again, I'm just not going to repeat myself again. North of Beautiful, Anatomy of a Misfit. And this one didn't have the best ratings, by the way. And Falling into Place. This one was the one I debated most about. Let me know if you think I should still read this. The Fire Wish, this one I actually got in a blind date with a book. And I should just have read it then, but I didn't. So here I am unhauling it. And The Walls Around Us. This I bought because we were going to be reading it for my like in real life book club that I went 2 years ago, but I never read it, and I wouldn't have bought this if it wasn't for that book club, so I'm unhauling it now. And I'm getting rid of all my Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling books. The Cuckoo's Calling, The Silkworm, and Career of Evil. I don't want to support J.K. Rowling. The only books of hers I'm going to be keeping are the Harry Potter ones, but other than that, I'm removing her books from my shelves, and these ones I have not read and I'm not going to be reading. Let's move on to bookcase number 2. Like I said, it's just the front. If I want to unhaul more books, we're going to go in the back later. Shelf number 1, I don't see anything I want to get rid of here. Shelf number 2, number 3, number 4. This one I think I'm gonna be removing a couple. Number 5. And number 6. All right, another 8 books bite the dust. The Girl Who Fell. I believe this is a contemporary young adult book about an abusive relationship. Bittersweet by Sarah Ockler. Eliza and Her Monsters. This one I was debating about so long, but I don't know. I just feel like I've owned this for so long, and since I haven't read it yet, I just need to remove it from my shelves. Another Sarah Ockler, The Book of Broken Hearts. 10 Blind Dates. This one I have put on my Christmas TBR ever since I first bought it, and I never got around to it, so I figured it's just time to acknowledge the fact that I'm probably never gonna read it. And since my TBR for romances I really want to read is already never ending, I'm just gonna let this one go. The Chaos of Standing Still. Once again, I put this for my New Year's TBR ever since I first bought it. Once again, never got around to it, so that should tell you enough. In Real Life, a young adult contemporary that I have no interest in anymore, and same goes for Meant to Be. This is obviously a contemporary romance, young adult, but there's just too many adult romances that I already am interested in. Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This one is one I have read, and the only reason I kept it is because of the cover and because it matches Spinning Silver very beautifully. But so Spinning Silver is one I have not read yet, but Uprooted I really didn't like, so then why am I keeping it? I do have to say, a lot of the books that I'm unhauling, apart from this one obviously, but are books that I used to be interested in like 5 to 10 years ago, and I should have just read them then. So this should be a cautionary tale to those of you who also buy a lot of books. Read them when you're still interested in them, because otherwise you're gonna unhaul them without having read them. Bookshelf 3. This is the first shelf. The second shelf. This one I'm not going to be unhauling because these are all new releases, all adult romances, which is exactly what I'm reading nowadays. This shelf. So these are all like graphic novels, comics, stuff like that. So I have another 7. Some of these I have read, so that is a good thing. The Murder Complex by Lindsay Cummings. This one I bought because it was pretty popular around the time I bought it, but never read it and I have no interest to now. The Only Thing Worse Than Me Is You by Lily Anderson. I do love the title of this book, but once again, a contemporary young adult romance. The next 2 I have read, The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. I gave this one 3 stars. I don't really need to keep it on my shelves. Same goes for Raised by Wolves, 3 stars, and I'm never gonna reread it, so let's just unhaul it. Fire and Heist. This was another fairy loot book that doesn't have the best ratings. Outwalkers, this was in another book subscription box. I never would have bought this book. I don't really have any interest in it. The Afterlife of Holly Chase. I did enjoy this book when I read it, but I don't think I'll ever reread it. So hopefully somebody else will enjoy this book. Let me actually just count how many I've already unhauled. So I have unhauled 39 books. So I am on the right track. Let's do the last shelf now. And this shelf is a mess because I was shuffling things around. I want to put my classics somewhere else. So please excuse the mess of this shelf, but I did want to show it to you. So this is the first shelf, the second shelf, the third shelf, which is a mess, the fourth one, the fifth one, and the sixth one. Roseblood by A.G. Howard. This doesn't have the best ratings on Goodreads, so letting it go. The Replacement. This, with every unhaul that I've done, I've looked at this book and was very close to unhauling it, so I guess this time we're actually doing it. Same goes for The Alchemy of Forever. This one I bought at like this book fair where books were really cheap. Like I was never even compelled to pick it up. Like I didn't even look at it and was like, you know what? Hopefully I can get to you this year. So we're gonna unhaul it. And The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. When it came out, it already had some mixed reviews, and now I really don't have a lot of interest in picking it up. The Spiderwick Chronicles. I liked it when I read it, but I'm never gonna reread it. And a part of me was keeping it for the future children I'm gonna have. Maybe they would like it, but it's in English. I'm pretty sure my kids will, if I have children, they would be reading their books in Dutch, so then why am I keeping it? The Surface Breaks, even though this has such a beautiful cover, it doesn't have the best rating, so we're just gonna move on. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This one I read and I just feel like I want a lot of people to read this book, so I'm unhauling it. So hopefully somebody else can read this book too. Furiously Happy. This was very popular when I first bought it, but I find myself not really enjoying these types of memoirs of people that I don't really know. So this is the shelf, my first shelf, but in the back, after like behind all the Cassandra Clare books. So these are all mass market paperbacks. Almost Midnight by Rainbow Rowell. I read this, but I haven't really thought about this book ever since I read it, so hopefully somebody else will enjoy it. Nocturne by Siri James. This, I heard one booktuber a long time ago talk about it, but ever since I never heard anything about it. It also doesn't have the best reviews. I do believe that this is about a vampire. I kept it on my shelves because a part of me did want to read it, but now, all those years later, let's just move on. Sundays at Tiffany's. This one, I don't like the cover at all. I believe it's the movie tie-in edition. So if one day I am interested in reading this book, I will buy a new edition. Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I'm pretty sure we had to read this for school. I don't remember anything about this book, and I don't think I'm ever gonna reread it. The Circle. This one I tried to read. I got about halfway through and didn't enjoy it. I kept it because a part of me always thought that I was gonna get back to it, but I never did, and now it's been years later, so that's why I'm unhauling it now. All the books I own in the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlene Harris. This I bought pretty cheap at that book expo thing I talked about, but I've never watched the show and nobody on BookTube really talks about it or really enjoys this series, so I just figured these have been on my shelves for such a long time. I don't think I'm ever gonna read them. The books I have are Altogether Dead, Dead as a Doornail, Definitely Dead, Dead to the World, Club Dead, From Dead to Worse, and Dead and Gone. Maybe somebody else will enjoy them. I didn't pay a lot for these books, so I'm fine unhauling them. And I believe I've reached the 50 book mark, so that's good. Let me actually count once again. Yes, I unhauled 59 books, but I'm gonna continue and let's see how far we get. So this second shelf didn't have any books behind it, but this one did. So I'm gonna see which one of these I'm gonna unhaul. Vampires Never Get Old. I read half of it, and short story collections are just not for me. I didn't really enjoy the stories I read. Like it was fine. It's like a typical short story collection to me, which is just not something I enjoy. If We Were Villains, I read this one. I thought it was fine, but I'm never gonna reread it, and hopefully somebody else will enjoy it more. Warm Bodies. I watched the movie, I enjoyed it, but this book has been on my shelves for such a long time. I would have read it already if I was the least bit interested in it. Alex Approximately, once again, a young adult contemporary romance. This one I was really debating because I did hear amazing things about it. This premise of talking to somebody online and then meeting them in real life. I know there are a lot of adult contemporary romances that also have that premise, and I'm more looking forward to reading those. So, oh, by the way, I'm not shitting on young adult romances at all. It's not that. It's just that I have so many books that I really want to read. I think I would need 100 years to get through my TBR as it is now, and that I'm not even including all the books that are coming out in the next 100 years. So that's why I just need to prioritize, and right now my priority just lies with adult books mostly. That's not to say I'm not ever gonna pick up a contemporary young adult book, but I just prefer the more hard-hitting ones as opposed to the romance ones. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but please don't take this as me shitting on young adults, because I'm not. In fact, some of my favorite books are still young adult books. I have read young adult books for so long. And that's the thing, because young adult fantasy and paranormal, I'm still keeping on my shelves. It's for the most part. So yeah, anyway. I wanted to make that clear. On this shelf, I'm keeping everything. There's one book missing here, but that is Broken Vow. I just filmed, so I used that one in a video. So that is great. I haven't read every single book here, but with the other ones I haven't read yet, I'm still interested in it. So that is great. So this shelf doesn't have any books behind it, but the second shelf does. So let's see. I have 2 books that I'm getting rid of. The Fandom and Partials. The Fandom doesn't have the best ratings, and I don't really have any interest in it. I believe I got this one in a book box. Partials, I don't know, sci-fi or like post-apocalyptic books are not really my favorite. And once again, I forgot I even had this one, and I'm pretty sure I've owned it for like at least 5 years. So getting rid of these 2. This shelf is next. I can remove 4 books. Girl in Pieces. This I once again bought for this book club that I never went to that particular meeting, so I don't think I would have bought this if not for that book club. Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I have enjoyed Morgan Matson in the past, but they were never really my favorite, so I am skipping this one. American Royals. I love the sprayed edges for this one. This is like an alternate world. If the United States was a monarchy instead of a republic, I guess. I once again bought this right around the time it came out and never really had any urge to pick it up. Fracture by Megan Miranda. I once again forgot I even owned this book, so out it goes. So the 4th shelf, I'm keeping everything. Same goes for the 5th shelf. And the back of the 6th shelf. So bookshelf 3, shelf 2, and 3. I have 5 books to unhaul. The first one is Every Day by David Levithan. And I haven't read this, but I lost interest. Same goes for But I Love Him. I believe this is also a book about abuse. But once again, I lost interest. The Perks of Being a Wallflower I read, I liked at the time, but I don't think I'll ever reread this. Brave New World I had to read for school, but it was not my favorite, and once again, I don't think I'll ever reread it. Will Grayson is one I just once again lost interest in. I am getting tired, but I still have like 1.5 shelves left. So let's get it done. Shelf 4 and shelf 5. I'm getting rid of the entire After series. I did read the first 2 and I was actually obsessed with them. Like I could not stop reading. But then I kind of stopped and I didn't really feel any need to continue on. I'm just not the biggest fan of following multiple books about a particular couple unless there is a lot going on. And in this case, it was just like drama on top of drama on top of drama, which, like I said, it did compel me to binge read the first 2. But like at one point, I just got sick of their drama. So that's why and I held on to it because maybe I wanted to do a reading vlog, but now I don't want to anymore. So hopefully somebody else will enjoy these. And I'm getting rid of This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet. So I read This Savage Song and it was not my favorite. I don't know why I bought the second book, but that is just the story of my life. I do enjoy Victoria Schwab's books, but this series just was not my favorite. And then last but not least, these 2 shelves. Because this one doesn't have anything behind it and these 2 also don't. So I found 3. On the Fence by Casey West, contemporary young adult romance. Say What You Will by Cami McGovern. This one I'm pretty sure I already own on ebook too. Plus, it doesn't have the highest ratings on Goodreads. And then This Song Will Save Your Life by Layla Sales. Also, I did a These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 months video, and I have just been staring at them for the past half year. And some of them I already am not interested anymore. So let's just grab the ones that I know for sure I'm going to be unhauling so that I can unhaul them in this video too. So I have these 4. Fixing Delilah by Sarah Ochler. I got rid of all my Sarah Ochler books. I haven't read any book by her. So that's a shame that I had 3 on my shelves and never read one. 172 Hours on the Moon. How to Love by Katie Cotugno. And Amelia Ann Is Dead and Gone by Kat Rosenfield. I will leave my These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 months video linked for you. So yes, that was a giant unhaul again. I'm gonna line them up and do a last shot, and then I'm gonna tell you how many books I unhauled for this video. If you do think that some of these I do have to read, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna get rid of them slowly. So if there's a book in here that you really, really want, let me know. We can see. Some of them I am willing to part with for free, but some of them I would want to sell. So anyway, let me know. If they're free, you do have to pay shipping though, and I live in the Netherlands, so definitely before you even comment, check first, because sometimes the shipping can be astronomical. But if you live close, just let me know, and I'll see if I still own the book you want, and we'll see how we can go from there. All right, so this is the entire stack. This is 88 books in total. So I think I did a great job, and a lot of them are hardbacks, which is also something I really wanted. So this was a good unhaul. So 88 books, like I said, I'm very happy about that. Once again, a part of me is pretty sad because obviously I spent money on these books. Once upon a time, I was interested in them. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine having read a book, realizing that it was only a 3-star and then getting rid of it because at least I read the book. But I cannot hold on to these books because I don't think I'm gonna be reading them in the next 10 years. So in that case, I'd rather they go to a home where somebody else will enjoy them. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.